Hi friends, I hope you all are doing great. It's me, Nikki here, and I'm so excited about this video series that I'm doing on coffee. I love things coffee, and I know many of you do also. So I was so excited when my media assistant Easton and I decided to do this coffee series. Easton used to be a barista in one of our local coffee shops here, and so she is teaching me some tips and tricks about coffee that I have really been enjoying, and so I am excited to share this with you today. Now, this is nothing on a grand scheme of being a coffee expert or anything. This is to teach you how to make that perfect cup of coffee at home. So this is a very amateur way of making coffee house style coffee. So I want to jump into the video. I hope you will enjoy, find it fun, informative, and helpful. So let's jump right in. Friends, I am so excited you are on this learning journey with me. This is so much fun to learn the little tips and tricks, so I hope you will find them helpful as I learn myself. But coffee beans is where it starts. The best way that I can describe it is the coffee bean is the coating that holds all that flavor for us. So if we buy a coffee bean instead of buying our coffee pre-grounded, we're locking in and holding that flavor until we want it for that perfect cup of coffee. Now, a lot of times in your local grocery stores now, they have whole coffee beans that you can purchase. So that is awesome. Or you can also go to your local coffee shops that you love, and a lot of times they will sell the whole beans there for you. And then the only other thing you'll need is your grinder. Now, mine is a very inexpensive grinder, and what I will say is the grinding process is a whole baby in itself that I could do a whole separate video on. But for home use, I keep it simple. What my purpose is I want to get that perfect ground for me for at home, and it's about the texture for me. And so I want to be able to grind the proper texture to make the espresso, which is a lot finer of a grind, or if I want just that perfect cup of coffee or pour over coffee. So, just getting that perfect texture. And I'm going to put out a chart this week on my Facebook and Instagram that can be helpful to you, so definitely look out for that. It's kind of like a cheat sheet on how to identify your grind or kind of what texture you want to try to obtain. Now, for today's video, I'm looking to have that fine grind because I'm making an espresso based drink. So I'm doing things like the macchiato and the espresso, and the cappuccino, and they take that fine grind because we are basically making espresso for all of these coffees. And so, friends, I grind my coffee beans for about a minute in my grinder to get that fine consistency to make espresso, because like I said, espresso is the base of all the coffees that I'm going to share with you today, and so we needed that fine grind. Another thing is the type of bean you want to look for is the Arabica when you're making the things like your cappuccino and your espresso, which all of them start with that base of espresso, but the Arabica is what you want to look for on your packaging or within your beans when you're purchasing them. Okay friends, so let's start making our coffees, and I'm using my stovetop espresso maker here, and I'm going to make several variations of coffee, from the Italian macchiato to a cappuccino to an espresso. And so all of it takes two bases, your espresso and your milk. And I love my stovetop espresso machine because it's very budget friendly. For 12 bucks, you can't beat it. Espresso machines are very expensive, and it's quick, it's simple, it's easy, and it gets the job done for me. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It's 3 pieces. I fill the bottom portion here with water, and you want to fill the water up into the fill line here, right there on the edge, and then you simply put the filter back in and you put your grounded espresso in. And what you want to do is you want to fill it to the top there, but do not press it down. And then once you have that filled, you simply put the carafe part on, you screw it on, and the water is going to rise from the bottom up into the carafe. So it's such a simple process, very affordable, easy, simple. Absolutely love it. Many of you have seen this in previous videos. Now, it is stovetop, so it's great for if you go camping or glamping. You can definitely have your espresso while you're out in the woods. But the thing about it is it doesn't take long, so you definitely want to watch it. And you'll see when the steam starts seeping out that it is ready to go. And for a super amateur like me, I find that it makes that perfect espresso. Now, our second ingredient is that milk. And what I love about all of these coffees having the same ingredients, the coffee and the milk, that's it. You will add your flavoring in, but the great thing about it is you can make the different variations for your girlfriends when they come in. Maybe one wants an espresso, maybe one wants a cappuccino, but I can make all my milk at one time and then froth it appropriately for each of my guests. So it's really simple. And I use these simple tools. I have this little coffee shot glass, and I'll link it below if you're interested also, but it just helps you kind of measure out if you want to do a single shot of espresso or a double shot of espresso. And so it really keeps things simple for you as far as how much coffee to pour, so that you can get the proper amount of flavor and, you know, the taste that you want out of your cup. And then the other basic thing that I have is just my little frother here. It's handheld. I can easily keep it in the drawer in my coffee bar, and it gets the job done. Again, it's not anything on a grand scheme of the high-end things, but it gives me my home perfect cup of coffee. Okay friends, so let's make an Italian macchiato, which is basically a traditional macchiato, and basically it's served in your traditional small cup, and you're going to use a half a shot of your espresso. So you see half of that shot glass is filled with the espresso, and then we have our milk, which is about a half a cup of milk, and I'm going to froth the milk. And that's important because a macchiato, the word means marked, so we're basically taking an espresso and we're marking it with the milk. Okay, so to froth the milk, it can be another process, but I'm going to show you my amateur simple way. You simply take your half a cup of milk and you put your tool in there, and you almost hit the bottom, but as it starts to foam, you rise up with the foam. You lift your tool with the foam. You kind of swirl it and tap it just to get all the bubbles out, and when you see you have that nice foam, you know that you're good to go. Now again, that's my amateur way of doing it, but it works for me. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my espresso into my cup, and then I'm going to mark my espresso. So I'm going to put just a dab of the foamy part on top of the espresso, and basically that's your Italian macchiato. Now some people like to sweeten it with sugar. If you want to put flavor in it, put it in the milk before you froth, and then you can have that flavoring in there. But that is it, simple and done. Now let's move into your simple latte. Now with the latte, you know my cup is a little larger, your typical, I want to say, coffee cup, and then I have a double shot of espresso in there. You see I have a double shot. I put my coffee in first, and all of this is in the technique, and then in a circular motion I'm putting the foam on top. So you want to do your frothing the same way, half a cup, and then in a circular motion just pour it on top of your coffee, and you have your simple latte. Again, if you want it flavored, put it in the milk. If you want to add sugar, that's totally fine, but there you go. Now let's move into that cappuccino, which I love. And again, it's all about the technique. And I have that rounded kind of cup. I always love having my cappuccinos in that. And then a double shot of my espresso. Again, all of this is the same base, and I'm putting the coffee in first. I have my frothed milk. I showed you that process before. And I'm again going to pour this into the coffee in a circular motion. But you notice I'm getting a lot of the milk first, and then I'm letting that foam catch at the end. And that's what is giving me that perfect cappuccino. Now, because I'm not a professional, I'm an amateur home barista, I am learning, and so I don't know how to do the art yet, but I will learn. Now, an American macchiato is a little different, so the technique is different, and that's what's different about all of these. Although you're still using the same two ingredients, you're going to have a double shot of your espresso, and I have the larger cup here, as you can see, for the macchiato. Now, the difference here is the milk goes in first. So you notice everything else I was putting the coffee in first. Well, here you're going to put your milk in first, because you're going to put all of that milk, and the foam is going to trail behind for your half a cup there. And then you're basically putting your shot in on top. So as you can see with the American macchiato, the majority is going to be a lot of that milk, and you're topping it off with the coffee. For a little extra treat, you can top it with some caramel, and that would really be tasty. Again, you can always add your flavoring into your milk for all of these drinks, and add sugar if you prefer that kind of sweet drink. Now let's move into the next one, which is the basic espresso. Now this is that black thick coffee that if you want that bang in the morning, have an espresso. Now it's a really strong taste. Some people add sugar to it to kind of soften it a little bit, but I have a double shot. I simply put it into my cup, and I'm good to go. Very basic, very simple. So friends, as you can see from those two ingredients, the espresso and the milk, I was able to make all of these coffees. Again, if you want the different flavorings, like, you know, the vanilla and all of that coconut and different stuff in your coffee, you can definitely add that in, but definitely add it in the milk, not into the coffee, but before you froth the milk, add in the flavoring, and you'll have that desired taste that you want. So I hope you've enjoyed the first video in this coffee series. Check back next Monday for the second video. I'll still have my normal videos this week, but this coffee series is something in addition to my regular videos. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you have some tips for me, definitely let me know. I would love to hear from you. I hope you all are doing great. I'll see you at the next video, and this is Nikki saying goodbye.